Hello YouTube, this is Chris, Kerbal Space Program, Interstellar Mod. This is a landing of a probe on the surface of Eve, relatively early in the Kerbal career here, and I don't have a whole lot of parts, but I was able to cobble together this rocket and get it into orbit around Eve. Well, not so much orbit around Eve, but I got a good transfer to Eve, and then was able to aero brake. And I had planned to get this probe down to the surface anyway, so the aero braking maneuver wasn't very well thought out or planned. I basically just aimed the rocket into the atmosphere of Eve and let it do its job. Eve is kind of an interesting place. It's got a thick atmosphere and surface gravity, so it is probably the closest approximation to Kerbin. The atmosphere is a lot thicker here, so getting off the surface is a lot more difficult because you have to get extra delta V into your rocket in order to break free of the atmosphere. And sometimes that's not an easy thing to do. And to be honest, there's a few of the elite pilots like Scott Manley and some of the other guys that can do it, but it's a lot of work. And if you ever get a chance to see Eve or Bust by Scott Manley, it's a great video series about returning a manned mission from Eve. It's great. So I'm just about ready to enter the atmosphere here, and I'll check my trajectory a few times on the map. See as if you can see there, I was actually gonna skip out of the planet, but that's before the aero braking maneuver is taken into account. So I have entered the atmosphere, and you see the shock heating from that, and you can see I'm rapidly slowing down, which is just what you want. And Eve is great because you can use parachutes for your final descent if you so wish. Where on Duna, the atmosphere there is an atmosphere, but it's not as thick. So even if you use a lot of parachutes, you probably have to do an assisted landing with an engine, because your speed would be just too fast due to not having enough wind resistance for the parachutes to slow down. And there's Mach effects there. We're going quite fast still. But as you can see, it's just dropping very rapidly. And I did it again, and I've been trying not to do this, is landing on the dark side of the planet, so it's more difficult to see. I mean, I can see it perfectly from when I'm playing, but sometimes it doesn't transfer through to the YouTube video. I think there's enough light here that you can actually see what's going on. But I'm burning my motor, and I'm trying to slow down a little bit more, because I came in real fast, and I got the extra fuel. I'm not going to be taking back off. I want to get rid of this stage anyway, so I might as well use it to slow me down. That way it doesn't put as much force on the parachute connection and to the science modules, because that can easily break apart if the parachute deploys while this thing's going so fast. But might as well use up the fuel while I got it, because it's just going to get wasted anyway. And it's good because I didn't have light. I don't know if I have lights on this probe, but when it's dark out, it's tough to tell distance. So dropping a tank relatively low to the ground is good, because then you can see the tank hit. And if you have Kerbals on board, you can have them do their last prayers before they crash into the ground and die. However, this is an unmanned probe, so I'm not really worried about it. I let that tank go. I'll be deploying the parachutes soon. Still up pretty high. Meanwhile, I'm doing a bunch of science as I'm going down. Just got to watch my battery, because I want to make sure I deploy the parachutes prior to the battery running out, because then I won't be able to deploy it, because it's not a manned craft. So then the craft would certainly crash into the ground. I had a little problem with this design, where it wasn't the most optimal landing platform, because it was a little top heavy. And as I get close to the ground, you'll see what happens. And again, it is kind of difficult to see how close you are to the ground. And there's the tank. It finally let go, and now you're going to see some of the ground scatter. Just so happens that the parachute ripped away like I had thought it might. So I had to make a landing there, powered, and I just happened to have enough to save the probe. Of course, it's on its side, but you can see how it's kind of top heavy. And for some reason, I decide to decouple this node, or use the decoupler here, and it shoots me across the ground and probably breaks a bunch of solar panels that didn't break on the initial explosion landing. I also have the magnometer, or magnometer, whatever you want to call it, from the Interstellar Mod pack, and it does give enough force that it could actually kind of upright this, but it's just the way it's mounted and the center of gravity of the probe makes it kind of difficult. It just wants to go, to stay to the top. It's top heavy. It's pretty much the best way to explain it. But I do a bunch of science while I'm here, because I do have a couple solar panels left functioning that didn't break on impact. So I'm just going to do as much science as I can in the day to max out the science tree and spam back to Kerbal Command. So that's pretty much what's going to happen for now. And as you just saw, I tried to upright my craft with the magnometer, but it just wasn't having it. So, and now I decided to decouple this explosive decoupler. And I thought this one was the one that shot me across the ground, but that might have been on a different planet or moon. I can't remember now, but this is all in post-production, obviously. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this, and I'll try and vein a few more times to upright this probe and break more solar panels while I do it. But that's about it, and I'll show you what I open in the tech tree. And as you can see, I wanted to get a few other sciencey things and some basic parts. So I just went through and did all that. And then I continue on with my Interstellar Mod Kerbal Space Command career, which you'll see future videos. So if you like it, please subscribe, comment, and if you have any questions or suggestions, or if you want to see something in particular, let me know. I'll try to make it happen. As always, thank you.